There we go. Now we're live.
Stage 1, pressing for flight.
We're go for launch. Let's light this candle.
Yes, sir. Reading you loud and clear. Clear. The clock has started. The clock has started.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Welcome to Pressing for Flight, live from the Space Coast, where the schedule never holds. I am your host, Stephen Marr. With me this evening, I have Matthew, Mr. Jordan.
Well, hey, how you doing?
I have Bekah, Mr. Penland.
Hi.
I have Matthew, Mr. Cutshaw.
What's going on, everybody?
I have Stephen, Mr. Kegel.
Saturday. We're going back to space.
Back to space!
Yes.
Did everybody out there watching, did you just spend the last couple hours watching Starship maybe, possibly, almost explode?
It was
tense.
maybe pop its top, but it did not.
It was tense, man. Like, so apparently they were just gonna do a wet dress rehearsal, and then they decided to go ahead with a static fire, which they did, and they were talking about this on the stream that there was like something dripping from one of the engines, which I think it was just a single engine, or they think, and I'm just kind of taking their word for it. That there was something dripping from one of the engines, and it was just like, okay, well, that's weird. We don't know what that is, and and these guys they watch this all the time, so they know what like a depress after a static fire looks like. They usually just depressurize the system. Well, that wasn't happening, so there was a lot of hey Klebby, oh hey Zach, hey Doug, hey Daryl. So there was a lot of speculation about, well, maybe they're like gearing up to do like a second one, like they're gonna test out like the main tank and then maybe test out the header tank, because the header tank at the very tip, the very tip of the Starship is what will be used. The fuel in there is what's going to be used for a landing. I'm not smart enough to explain why. I think it has something to do with, you've got a big tank and stuff sloshing around. It's hard to make sure that it goes into the right place. So if you have a header tank at the top, it's easier to make sure that it's going in the right tube when you're coming down to land. I think that's what that's about. And then Elon tweets out that for some reason they lost all pneumatic control. That's your hydraulics. I'm assuming that's going to be like your thrust vector, like how they tilt the engines, whatever way they want, and apparently other stuff that like releases valves, like that allows it to depressurize. And he also said that the pressure in the header tank was rising, and there was really nothing they could do about it. Like he said that hopefully the burst disk bursts. They have, and actually the only reason I know what a burst disk is because of Crew Dragon, because they ended up installing. I'm kind of getting off on a tangent here, but whenever that one Crew Dragon exploded during a test fire of the Super Dracos, they then went back and redesigned, not really, I don't know if it's considered a redesign, but they put in burst discs instead of the valves that they had in there. And so what a burst disc is, it's like think about, okay.
Scott Manley put up a picture of it if you want to show what it actually looks like.
Oh, did he tweet something out? Oh, okay. Let's see.
Yeah, he put up an actual picture.
Like recently?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Let me look.
I remember the burst discs that the Mythbusters used to always use.
So you
could tell for like how much of a pressure wave from explosions were.
Oh, here you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The same thing.
I think of the Pop-O-Matic bubble. Anybody ever play? What is it? It's not Trouble. It's what's the name of that game?
Sorry. No.
No. Is it Trouble? It is. It is.
Yeah,
Trouble.
it's Trouble.
The Pop-O-Matic bubble, right?
Yeah, with the Pop-O-Matic bubble, you press the button and the dice would roll inside
up.
the little bubble.
Yeah, it looks like this, right?
But the
a little bit.
ones in the ship have to be like super thick. That looks really thin. Like to hold that pressure.
It is
in the
weird,
pot.
right?
Like I know those look like the ones that, like I said, the MythBusters used for sound waves, like
Uh-huh.
for the pressure.
Well, let's see
And
what
if it,
Scott says.
certain ones, if they burst, you would be dead. You know.
Okay. Oh, he's actually got he explained some things. Teach us, Mr. Manley. So what's happening with SN8 is that something went wrong during test fire and they lost pneumatic pressure. The pneumatic system is used to power things like valves. Right now, the vehicle has cryogenic propellant in it, which they cannot drain. In particular, there are concerns that the header tank will increase in pressure as the cryogenic propellants boil. It sounds like there's an emergency pressure relief system in the form of a burst disc, which is supposed to break and relieve the pressure before the tank bursts. And then he just says a burst disc is a piece of metal which will burst at a specific pressure. It's usually placed to stop flow through a vent pipe. And if you're just listening to audio, just look up Scott Manley on Twitter, or just probably Google burst disc. Maybe
Watch an episode of the MythBusters.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I mean, different metals do burst at different. Like these can be designed in an array of different pressures they burst at, and for different uses. So basically, they have an emergency vent valve that is built into the venting system, and if pressure goes above a certain point, that disc is going to burst through, and all the pressure is going to go out the emergency venting valve system.
Yeah. Well, it ended up bursting. Thank goodness.
Excellent.
Yeah. So
It worked as designed.
yeah.
No explosion.
Yeah. Elon said if it doesn't, then it's gonna pop its cork, and luckily it did not pop its proverbial cork.
Not like a fine bottle of wine.
No, not.
Or a can of Pringles.
Because once you pop,
can't stop.
No. Okay. Well, there is an exciting launch happening this weekend, and I remembered what it was.
What?
And I think I gave it away. These fine folks right here are going to space. We have Shannon Walker, Victor Glover, Mike Hopkins, and Soichi Noguchi. And I thought, actually, okay, we were trying to figure out who these people were, and I think we figured out one of them, right? Matt didn't.
No, that's I'll pull it up again because I can't remember off the top of my head. That is Kelly Landron. He's actually a seasoned astronaut with 3 expeditions underneath his belt, which is Expedition 44/45 and a couple of other, looks like, shuttle missions he had.
And he's wearing one of the SpaceX jumpsuits, specifically number 9. So he must be on the closeout crew.
Yes, he is one of the SpaceX astronauts, I do believe.
Okay, so he's actually an employee. I was thinking maybe just, they bring other people in. Does he actually work for SpaceX? Do we know?
I'm not sure, because he is wearing the SpaceX uniform. If he wasn't, he would be wearing the blue, who we believe might be Charlie Duke over here. I'm not sure.
That's not Charlie Duke.
Well,
it looked like Charlie Duke, and I freaked out.
I think if he was part of the closeout crew, he'd be wearing that jumpsuit regardless, even if he.
Yeah,
that's true.
If they were like, hey, be a part of the closeout crew.
Yeah, I want to say they probably have him doing that just because he is an experienced astronaut, and he probably said, "Hey, I would really like to help out with this to make sure they're good," because he could possibly be flying on future flights as well. So he probably wants to see what it's like.
Yeah, is he still?
I don't blame him one bit.
He is still an active astronaut, from what I recall.
Okay.
Yep.
And I thought it'd be neat. We've talked a lot about the supercluster astronaut database, and so I thought it'd be cool to pull it up. It's actually my first time pulling it up on a desktop. I'd looked at it on my phone, but man, this thing is really cool.
Yeah, so good, man.
So you could search by name, you could search by life form. So here we go.
You my fungi?
Oh yeah.
Oh, look at the doggy. They look so happy to be in
Oh,
there.
they're so stinking cute.
Wait, let's see.
Those little astronaut dogs.
Oh,
if you go down, there's a cat.
Yeah, the French cat. Yeah.
Yeah, the French cat.
Well, I was gonna do this thing. Okay, all, and then if you sort by
some fruit
I love
flies.
number
some
2.
fruit flies. And if you sort by launch order, Okay, yeah. So the first to fly in space were some fruit flies, and then you've got Albert 2, and you've got Desic, and Little Lisa, and Sargan. Oh, dog.
America, we didn't want to name our animals. It was just like unknown mouse.
Lisa looks unsure.
I don't
She's
know.
like, they're
about
cramming
you.
me in this thing again.
Oh no. Okay, I guess it starts over when. Okay. All.
Yeah, it'll
You
actually
guys
show
wanted to
you
see
like
the cat, right?
the
Yes.
live astronauts too. So if the astronaut is currently in space, it'll say right next to their name live.
Oh,
like
okay.
in space or
Ooh,
whatever it is.
shit.
There was a lot of dogs.
A lot of animals.
There were a lot of animals.
Look at Miss Baker.
Big Baker,
Right, what is
yay!
Miss
Miss Baker
Oh,
is
yeah.
so cute.
Squirrel monkey.
Yo, they sent this dog on 3 different missions. Holy crap. They
Wait.
tortured the crap out of that dog.
Look at
Is
this.
Marfusa sounds like Mufasa.
Marfusa is the rabbit. Okay.
Yeah.
What is wrong with that dog on the right?
He's been to space.
Probably a couple times.
Worn out.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. But
We
the
never
real...
saw the cat.
Oh yeah, we didn't. Wait. Wait. How did I do that?
You went by life
Life form all launch order. Okay, right there. And then
Cat's way down there, I'm sure, because the cat was in like I think the mid 60s,
yeah. Okay.
and it was France launched. Right there,
Right.
there was France. Hold
There was
on,
a mouse,
I saw a French
rat.
flag, a rat.
Rat.
Keep going down.
Down. Okay.
You can scroll a little faster because I'm just looking for the flags now.
Oh, gotcha.
There's
Well,
one.
now
I
we're
found
in
a
the
cat.
There was a cat right there.
Oh,
There it
there it
is,
is.
Felicette.
We
Oh.
learned
even
about
signed.
that cat.
And the
Oh,
only
the
one that
cat signed the
autographed it.
picture.
Mm.
And
Wow.
there is a statue of Felicette now, a bronze statue.
Yeah, I think didn't you tell us that last
I did,
episode?
yeah,
I remember
yeah.
learning about this cat.
Yes, this cat is awesome French national icon.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, so the real reason that I even pulled this up because I thought that it would be cool to see. I'll go to craft and go to Crew Dragon. I think they're missing somebody here. They're missing Victor Glover on this one, but he is listed as a crewmate here. So, but Michael Hopkins, apparently they call Hopper. He's a colonel in the United States Air Force. This will actually be his second mission. He spent 166 days in space, has a couple of spacewalks under his belt. His last flight was on a Soyuz, and then his next one will be on the Crew Dragon. And then you've got Victor Glover. He is the rookie. It says one mission because he has one mission upcoming. So he's got 0 time in space and 0 spacewalks. What was brought to my attention this week, which I had no idea, he's the first black man or black person in general to fly into space since the space shuttle.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't had any black people fly on Soyuz. That was surprising to me.
A little bit.
Well, Shannon Walker is going to be the first female to fly commercial.
To fly commercial, yeah.
So to fly commercially, so she'll be breaking. Actually, this Crew 1 is going to be breaking a lot of firsts. This is going to be breaking so many records. So you were just talking about the other guy. God, I can't think right now.
Hopkins.
Yes, Hopkins. So he's actually going to be sworn in while he's at the International Space Station.
Nice.
Sworn in,
So-
sworn into what? I
I
heard about that, but I don't.
He's going to be sworn into the Space Force, I believe it was.
Oh, okay.
But he's going to be officially sworn in while he's on the International Space Station.
Okay.
So you have here Victor Glover, which is the first person of color who will be flying since shuttle. You have Shannon, who's going to be the first woman who will be flying commercially as well. So this mission is going to be breaking so many first times, so many records. I can't wait. I'm over the moon excited.
And then Suichi Noguchi will be. I mean, it's only the second flight of Dragon, but he'll be the first first person other than an American to fly
Snoochie
This is
boo.
correct.
on a
Yep.
commercially developed vehicle. Let's see. Shannon Walker has 2 missions as well, so that's going to be one that she's already done, and then the one that's coming up. She spent 163 days in space.
On one mission. That definitely a long mission.
That is, yeah, that's a pretty long mission there.
Even for an ISS mission, that's toward the longer side.
Yeah, let's see. What is that? Yeah, that's almost 6 months, right?
A little under, about 20 days under 6 months.
Yeah. And then, and she's a mission specialist, which means that she's kind of riding side hatch on the way up, because it's Hopkins and Glover that are actually the commander and pilot. And then you've got her. Let's see. And then Soichi Noguchi is also a mission specialist. So just kind of, as far as the launch goes, just kind of along for the ride, and his work begins once they get there. And so he's got 3 missions, one on Shuttle Discovery, so that's cool. He's a shuttle veteran, and then one on Soyuz, and then this one. So he's spent 177 days in space and has 3 spacewalks. Oh yeah,
Oh, cool.
that's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
he's a spacewalking specialist.
Very cool. Occupation engineer.
He has impressive astrostats.
Yes.
That he does.
Yeah. So this is really cool. Like, this is like, we're done with testing. That's all behind us. I mean, NASA likes to reiterate that they're always kind of in a test phase, like, because they're always open to improve on the
And so is
design.
SpaceX. So they work together to make that iterative process flow very smoothly in between the missions. There's small changes, but there's nothing major. I mean, Dragon's never going to be in its final form. There's always going to be small iterative changes, as even for like crew specific stuff.
Like,
Right.
one of the things was, there was they saw something with a certain portion of the heat shield being, like, getting a little bit more damage than anything else. And of course they reiterated there was never any real danger, but it's still, especially it was only Crew Dragon's second flight, so it's worth looking into and beefing up. And if I understand it correctly, I'm gonna have to try to quickly find a picture of Dragon and see if I can point out where that was, because if I understand right, I do know where that was.
And while you're looking for that, NASA did officially certify Crew Dragon, so SpaceX is officially certified for human flights now. So they're good. They got their badge. They're good.
And that's the first commercially developed vehicle to receive that designation too.
Yep.
So if I understand it correctly, I can't zoom in very far. That extra scorching or the extra damage to the heat shield was right around this area. What this is like a clamp that it kind of serves a couple purposes. It sort of locks the capsule to the trunk area, but it also there's like wires and stuff that goes through here that
Because
allows.
a lot like Apollo, like this is a command module, so it's got things happening back, or a service module, so it's got stuff happening in there.
Right.
So a lot like Apollo, it's a 2-section vehicle. Like this part comes off at the end, the part over to the left here comes off, and what is reused is the command module, if
Right.
you will.
The capsule itself, and
The
this
capsule.
Yeah, it's got the solar panels on the other
right.
side.
This side
too.
doesn't show the solar panels, of course. The
Yeah.
solar panels are only on the other side. And now, if you see the pad abort test that they did with Dragon, you see this thing flip open whenever it's time to drop the trunk, and then it kind of reorients itself, and then it pops its parachute. So yeah, this thing kind of keeps it locked to the trunk. And I guess the way that I kind of imagine, because there's only one that's the only one. There's not one on the other side, as far as I know. It's kind of one of those things where you kind of put it in on one side and then you snap it down on the other. And once you release that, then that
It'll
it's
flip
free.
itself away, open up like a clamshell at that point.
Right.
I wonder what happened to that trunk for in-flight abort. I know it came over here to the port, but I'm curious as what they're going to be doing with that.
Over the in-flight abort? Yeah, I don't know. I would imagine they took it back to Hawthorne or something, or maybe it's in
They probably
a hangar here somewhere.
Looked at it. That's a great destructive test to see what happens to it. You're never going to get that kind of data again, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, just the fact that it survived all the way back down. I mean, in basically one piece. I mean, I'm sure it's not usable, but
yeah.
Like Astro guy said that that's the life support umbilical.
Yeah, that's the life support umbilical. It's got basically all of the communications links between the service vehicle and the actual capsule itself.
Mm-hmm. And probably like oxygen and stuff. Although there is an umbilical that connects to the Dragon itself, right? When it's on the pad. What could I do to see that?
I think so.
I could rewatch our intro because it's in there. I'm not gonna do that. Okay, let's. I want to reiterate. This is on supercluster.com. It's an awesome website, and this database is super cool. If you have any astronauts you want to look up, or certain missions, or vehicles, or animals, or whatever, check it out. It's really cool to just kind of click around. Okay, so yesterday, the static fire took place. SpaceX put the rocket vertical on 39A sometime like 5 in the morning. Of course, they did. Now let's not skip. They did have the thing. They said they could have pushed on without changing out this valve, but they had a valve on the second stage that was showing some sort of anomalous readings, and so just to be on the safe side, they went ahead and changed it out. But apparently they would have been okay to continue on without it. But I like that sort of idea, Let's go ahead and swap that out.
If it's something that can be done quick, they'll do it as quickly as they can,
Yeah, so they actually took the Falcon 9 back to horizontal, swapped it out, and then the next day they went vertical for the static fire. And Emery Kelly has a good video of it. Florida Today has a stream that I don't know if it goes 24/7 just all the time, but when there is a rocket on the pad, they do have this stream going. So there's your static fire there. And it was actually I wanted to do this. It was actually kind of long for a static fire. Look, it starts at the 3-second mark. 6, 7, 8, and then it stops roughly there, like the 10 or 11 second mark. So that's like 7 or 8 second static fire, and they usually only go like 3 to 5 seconds. And I think that has to do with just like getting more data, just because it's a crude launch.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. And while we're on the static fire, I thought I would have a little lesson in photography. Look. So before static fire, I'm out at Playa Linda, and I'm looking through immense sea fog. And I had already taken a couple photos, and I jumped back in the car and was just editing photos. And I noticed, the sun just came out. So I ran back up onto the crossover, and this is what I saw. And it looks great, especially for looking through the sea fog. It looks pretty good. You got their highlights on one side. And so I was happy with that. And then the clouds move back in, and come static fire time, this is what I get.
Better than nothing.
Yeah, it's better than nothing. I got to tell you, it was really hard to make out the plume when I'm looking with my eyes. I just had my camera pointed at it and was just ready to hold the trigger down because I was pointed at it. I knew I'd catch it. So I'm trying to look with my eyes and see it, and it took me a minute to actually determine, there is a plume over there, because I'm basically just north up, like straight up the coast, which means all this sea fog. And if you don't know what sea fog is, it's like when it's really windy out, and I'm sure humidity plays a part. It's kicking up a bunch of water vapor. It's literally being kicked up off the tips of the waves, and it's getting churned up in the air, and it is kind of like fog. And so when I'm looking basically down the beach, this this here, these are bushes that are like on the tops of the dunes. And so I'm looking straight down the dunes towards 39A, and so I'm just looking through thick sea fog. But then whenever I was leaving, I saw Chris G sitting over there where they were streaming from, and I pulled over and I was like, oh wow, y'all's view was great from here. Like they weren't looking through all that sea fog. So that was sort of a lesson for me, and maybe a lesson.
Elon
for
just
y'all,
tweeted.
too.
He said that the burst disc worked, so the
Good.
vehicle appears to be okay.
Excellent.
Yay! And that'll take like once again no time to replace a burst disk.
And
They'll
it
be
said we'll have
back
to
at testing
swap out
tomorrow.
at least one of the engines.
Yeah, that's I think they something happened where they melted through some hydraulic lines or wires or something to lose pneumatic control over the vehicle. That is kind of
That's a
crazy.
scary situation, but I'm
Yeah.
glad it came out the way it was supposed to. Everything worked as designed when it came to their fail-safe systems.
Right. And what I'm wondering, I'll stop sharing for now. What I'm wondering is if, like, yeah, the burst disc blew for the header tank, but is the fuel and liquid oxygen still in the big tank? And do they need
Okay,
to
so
wait?
the way that header tank works, right? The header tank is a helium tank. So what it's doing is it's backfilling into the fuel and the oxidizer tanks, the fuel and the liquid oxygen tanks, as they empty to maintain a positive pressure.
This is different. That is a thing that they do, but they have a separate header tank that has like rocket fuel in it. That has
More
liquid
RP1
oxygen
or
and
methane,
it's
whatever they're
methane.
using
Yeah,
now.
methane and liquid oxygen. So yeah, that's separate.
Okay.
But what I'm wondering is if they still are going to have to wait for the rest of the fuel in the rest of the system to boil off, because if they can't trigger a depressurization and detanking, then you basically have to wait for all that fuel and liquid oxygen to warm up enough to boil off. Right?
What temperature is it in Texas tonight?
I don't know.
They're on the desert, so it might be cold.
What's the weather in Boca Chica, Texas? It's currently 73 degrees.
It's going to take a while to boil
It's
off.
going to take a while. Yeah.
It's going to take a while. They're going to be sitting there watching that for at least 12 hours.
I mean, if that's the case, if they don't figure out a way to, let me read. We'll have to swap out at least one of the engines. Okay, so that's it.
I mean,
Yeah,
if
I
they're
don't
still
know.
getting telemetry and they know what's going on, like they've got it under control. Yeah, they're going to be sitting there waiting for it to boil off all that fuel for a while if they can't control anything right now. But if they're getting telemetry, they know what's happening. They know they're within the safe parameters. They'll have people out there as soon as like safely possible.
Right. Yeah. Let's see. Back to where were we here? Oh, one of the things that I feel like is kind of on everybody, maybe not everybody, but a lot of people's mind is, if you guys remember the splashdown and all the boats that showed up uninvited.
Oh yeah.
Of course,
Wayward boat.
Of course, the planned splashdown isn't for 6 months, right? But
Yes.
in the event of an in-flight abort, then they're going to have to splash down somewhere. And so Benji Reed was asked about this in the press conference they did. So this is Emery Kelly. He's just tweeting out updates during the press conference. But SpaceX's Benji Reed officially responds to the boaters that swarmed Demo 2's splashdown in the Gulf. In a nutshell, if there's an abort and the capsule splashes down in the Atlantic, stay away. And then let me remind what his position is. He's the U.S. Coast Guard captain of the port of Jacksonville, Canaveral, and Fernandina in Florida. And Kings Bay, Georgia. All right, so he is definitely a worthy person to respond to this. He said, we'll have a heavy U.S. Coast Guard presence in the water for launch and any potential in-flight abort scenario.
That's good.
Yes, that's good. And I'm
Well,
assuming...
I'll miss the Trump flag.
Yeah.
So.
They'll still be out there somewhere, I'm sure. All right,
I
so
don't know.
that's-
I think those people have started to go into hiding.
No,
So-
nope. I still
well,
nope.
certain people have.
Certain
gone
people, like I've seen flags come down in the past week.
Have you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I still see the signs. You know. I don't know. Yeah, we won't. We're not gonna go.
Free
down
count.
there. Hey,
Keep counting,
yeah,
guys.
No, count
counting.
them in some states. Don't count them in other states. That's what they were going for.
No, that's
Don't count
not,
Florida.
That's not going to work.
We already read.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, so when's launch? Okay, launch time. If it's Saturday, then the exact launch time is at 7:49 and 50 seconds. This is Eastern time. And then if it's Sunday, it's 7:27 and 15 seconds. If you don't already know this, anytime you're launching to the space station, your instantaneous window is going to get about 22 minutes earlier each day that you progress. And as far as we know, now this is really as far as we know, but I don't think there's going to be an attempt on Monday or Tuesday, because a NOTMAR, a Notice to Mariners, came out that only had Saturday, Sunday, and Wednesday on it. But there was a weather report, right, that came out that had had launch day, had a 24-hour and a 48-hour. Right, which the 48-hour would have been Monday. So
Monday,
I'm still a little confused on that.
But the updated one for today that came out today didn't have that on it.
Exactly. In fact, I have the 45th website pulled up. Falcon 9, Crew 1, L2. Okay, so yeah, this is the one that came out today. It only has launch day, and in fact, the weather improved, so that's nice.
Yeah.
Where
As that storm goes out, it's drawing everything with it.
Yep.
That's exactly what hurricanes do, and tropical systems usually is they draw all the bad weather with them as they leave.
Yeah. It was a nice day today, man. The sunset was nice. I was like,
day.
man,
Not over here. It was
Not
raining.
here,
over
yeah,
here.
I was like, really? It was nice. It was nice.
yeah, we had
Like
blue
it
sky.
rained the first half of the day, but like after lunch, like I went out to my car over in Melbourne, and it was like a lovely afternoon.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Blue skies. See
Well,
the
that's not fair.
sunset. Yeah.
That's just
Sunset with nice orange.
Cocoa
pink
wasn't like
skies.
that. It rained on me in the morning and it rained on me in the afternoon.
Well,
Sorry to hear that,
not
sir.
cool. Yeah, so hopefully they go on Saturday because the weather gets a little bit worse the next day. So we're looking at 70% go on Saturday and only 60% go on Sunday. However, on Saturday, the booster recovery weather is moderate, like moderately risky. And then on Sunday, the risk is low. This is something that the Air Force, now Space Force, they added like a few months back, where they show the risk for upper level wind shear, booster recovery weather, and solar activity. Of course, the booster recovery part is only for Falcon 9 launch, but it is helpful because even though there was a time that Elon said that they would not scrub a launch because of the landing conditions, they've now moved into a new phase where they're so confident that they're going to land their boosters as long as the weather is good downrange that they actually do sometimes push launches because of the downrange weather.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see what they put out for tomorrow too, though, because ETA is moving out so much that by the time it even launches, it's taking all that with it, even the recovery.
Oh yeah, let's
even
show
the recovery.
that.
You mean
Yeah.
Ada?
Yeah, Ada.
Okay.
Ada.
You said ETA. I'm like, wait, estimated time of arrival? Where?
No, that's what I think whenever I see that is estimated time of arrival. But yeah, so
Ada.
it changes. They do that every, I want to say maybe every hour, like you see what I mean? Look at that.
This, yeah. It's
That's
like
the
every
new
time
one.
they put one out,
Holy
like,
crap.
the 7
Look at
a.m.
that.
Saturday moves out further and further. So
Yeah, look at that.
the storm's
like
gonna
Yeah,
be
way out
it's going into the jet stream now, which is going to
Yeah.
carry it faster and faster
It's
out.
moving
into
at
the
17
Atlantic.
miles per hour.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
going to
wow.
fly out into the Atlantic. It's
Yeah.
it's nobody's problem anymore. It fell apart here anyway because of all the dry air.
the only problem is, and now of course that this is 7 a.m. on Saturday, so you can kind of just assume that 7 p.m. Saturday it's
Yeah,
going
it's
to be
gonna
more
be
like
gone.
out here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's why
like-
everybody was like, well, what about recovery? I'm like, look at the map. Ain't no recovery.
Right.
There's that thing's gone.
But
That
there
thing
is
not going to be a problem.
I think there is. Klebby said, "How long has this storm been alive? Been getting notifications on my weather app for 2 weeks." Yeah, no, you're right. It
Yeah,
has
this thing's
been
Too long.
well, it's been everywhere.
too long. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
been zigzagging through the Gulf. There
Long getting
is
it.
a recovery option like downrange near like Ireland or something, which could be kind of where it's gonna be parked at that time.
Yeah.
You know, the launch is going northeast. Any space station launch hugs the coast, right?
Yeah,
So-
but by the time it gets to there, though, it's going to be like dead.
Hopefully, I mean,
Yeah, it's going to be dead, man.
it'll
It's
still
going to
be a
hitting all that
significant
cold.
storm. It's not going to be a hurricane anymore, but it's still going to be a significant storm. I think.
Daryl said that they started tracking it on Halloween.
Oh wow! On Halloween,
And it's going to fall apart on Friday the 13th.
yeah.
Mhm.
I did see a graphic.
Spooky.
I don't know if it is on this page, but there was a graphic showing it. Oh, look at this! Look, it's like it's lost all of its
Like everything is
organization.
gone.
Yeah, the jet stream is ripping it apart now because it's so fast.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
was one I saw earlier of like it was nice and organized over here on the west coast of Florida,
Mhm.
and then all of a sudden it was just like fizzling out.
That's it. Everybody did the rain dance, man. Got that thing out of here.
Heck yeah.
Gotta love Mike's Brothers page.
Yeah, Mike's weather page. It's very cluttered, but
I'm
I
okay
like when
with
he's
this
never
clutter,
updated it.
though.
It's been the same for so many years. He's just
probably
like, I'll leave
20
it be.
years. Yeah, I mean it's great. It's got every graphic you want to look at, so it is. It is
Yeah,
really
like
good.
I like that clutter. It
Yeah,
reminds
I-
me of the 90s.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like this page.
back when.
MySpace.
Yeah.
Back when the
Yeah.
internet had a sound.
Before MySpace, like
He learned HTML 10 years ago and just did the first one and left it be.
yeah, you learn how to put an image on a page with HTML, and you feel proud. I remember that. I had Angel Fire, y'all.
Angel.
Angel Fire and GeoCities.
I remember Angel Fire and GeoCities. I had a GeoCities.
Yeah.
I got threatened to be sued by a Christian book company.
Oh wow. Okay. let's hear
Yeah.
that.
No, there was a cease and desist order because I pretty much just copied their stuff directly into a website and didn't. This is before I like learned the art of how to credit people,
Yeah.
and I didn't credit them at all. So they were like, "Hey, no, you need to take this down now."
Wow.
Yeah.
Was it just like
they-
you're messing around and trying to build a website, or you were trying?
Yeah, I
To...
was just playing around building a website, and they jumped on me. They sent me like the letter directly from the lawyer, like, yeah, stop doing this now.
Man, that's crazy that they even found you. You know, like nobody ever found my Angel Fire website. It was just
Yeah,
you
no.
know, that was just kind of where I learned how that.
Well, that
stuff
happens
worked.
when you copy like word for word directly out of one of their brochures, the entire brochure onto a website.
Oh.
Yeah, because all websites end up getting indexed in Google. and
Yeah.
then they
Well,
can
there was
search
no
it.
Google back then. If it's the time
Or
period.
or a web crawler, I guess it would have been
yeah,
back then.
Lycos, go get it.
Yeah.
Back then, there was Lycos, and there was what was the other big one? Crap, Ask Jeeves.
Ask Jeeves, yeah.
Well, web
Ash
crawler is the one I
Jeeves.
remember using back like in the late 90s.
Mhm.
And
What was it?
And
Yahoo. Yahoo was the one. That
Yahoo's
was the
still
one everyone
around.
used.
I mean, people don't think of Yahoo as a search engine anymore, but they managed
No.
to stick around and stay somewhat relevant.
Yeah, I still get their
GoDaddy.
news every day.
Google went down yesterday, Klebby says.
I thought it was YouTube went down.
Maybe, well, YouTube is part of Google, so maybe.
Well, they're separate. I mean, they're not.
Daryl said, thanks for making me feel old with these old sites. Excuse me while I fill out my AARP.
I used to spend a whole lot of time on Gamesville playing bingo.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
GoDaddy. Is GoDaddy even a site anymore?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
GoDaddy's
yeah.
still around.
GoDaddy is still a thing, but that's still like mid 2000s when GoDaddy came out.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, GoDaddy is still pretty legit. I mean, it's a
Mhm.
it's a domain registrar and a hosting.
Yeah, they
site
do.
and
They
website builder
do
and all
everything.
that. Yeah. Okay, so that's.
Sure.
I think that's it for Crew 1. Just 7:49 Saturday, or what was it? What was the other time? on
It's
Sunday.
like 727.
Where is it at? Oh yeah, 7:27 on Sunday. If it doesn't go Saturday, it's 7:27 on Sunday.
We're excited.
And before that, we have an Atlas V we got to get off the ground.
Yep.
They just rolled Atlas V back out to the pad today after they had to scrub a launch. They had valve issues in their ground equipment. They sent somebody out at the pad. We were out there at the press site, and we could see the cars driving out there to the pad, and it was they had a team go and swap out this valve and in the oxygen farm, I think. And actually, whenever we were going to pick up our cameras, I'm like, where were they? Where, point out where they were. So hopefully they've got that all fixed. I mean, obviously they wouldn't be trying if they didn't feel confident that they did get it fixed. So tomorrow at 5:13 from Launch Complex 41, Atlas V in the 531 configuration should be lifting off, carrying the Enroll 101 satellite. We don't know what it is. It's National Reconnaissance Office. We don't get to really know what that is.
I'm still waiting for Heavy.
Yeah.
So it's a different.
Everybody's waiting for Heavy.
I haven't shaved. Have you?
Yeah, me neither. I haven't shaved.
Oh, really? Y'all are doing it?
I just shave underneath.
bushy.
I just shave underneath, but the dude doesn't get shaved.
What were you gonna say, Bekah?
This is another mission for the same people, but
Yeah.
it's not.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
the other
Enroll
one's NRL 44.
And they do not launch in numerical order either.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
why don't they just put the first one on the Atlas? I don't get it.
Because it has to reach a certain.
It's all
trajectory.
contracts. It's all contracts.
And satellites are built to ride. Like, once they decide what rocket they're going to ride on, they are built to ride on that rocket, and they cannot be moved to another. In fact, like, a lot of people, and this, I'd say probably mostly trolls, but when Delta IV Heavy scrubbed the last time, I saw a lot of people on Facebook and on Twitter like, should have moved it over to the Falcon Heavy. You just can't do that because it's not made like they make these things to fly on a certain rocket, whether it's just the payload adapter that attaches it to the rocket or other aspects of it that there's certain accelerations that the Delta Heavy is going to produce that not the Falcon Heavy or vice versa. So these satellites are built to fly on a specific rocket, and they just can't go switching them around. It's just a fact of it.
They'll get it up.
Yeah, they'll get it. They'll get it going.
Yeah, it's just an old pad. That's what people don't understand. It's an old pad that needs work and needs upgrades. Heavy's gonna fly. Heavy is a picky bird. She's Parker Solar Probe scrubbed several times before it finally went. But guess what? It finally went. So
Parker never went through like days or weeks or anything like that. It was days, not.
It was the initial launch date was, I know when they were encapsulating it, they noticed some foam that was out of place. You know what I mean? So they had to take it back apart, make sure everything was good on the inside. So there was a few issues, as far as that is concerned. It was initially supposed to go on it was either Friday or Saturday, and it scrubbed to the following day. So it ended up going on Sunday. A sun mission going on Sunday, ironically enough.
So that was your first NASA social, right?
That was my first national social and my first seeing a launch up close.
Right. And did it, when that happened, was it timed in a way that it moved the NASA social events? Or had you already, because with the NASA social, if you've never been a part of one, they have a couple days planned out where you kind of tour around NASA facilities at Kennedy and stuff like that. So did that move that, or did that all kind of stay on schedule, and then you just had to wait for the actual launch?
Yeah, that all. I mean, they moved back the social a few times, but once we actually did the social, then it was good. I mean, I did the social with Wayward Plane, with Jamie, who now is with Tulsarati. Who else was over there with us? John Reno. And a couple of other, people. That's how I met them, was because of the NASA social. And this girl, Rachel, who was really good friends with Adrian, and that's how I met Adrian, was I used to always go over to 401, and every single time I went to go to 401, there was Adrian every single time. And then we just was like, "Oh, you again?" We just that's how I met him.
Yeah.
So socials really bring people together. They really do. So, and it's actually amazing to see where everybody is now and seeing what everybody's doing in the space community. It's really
I had
it's really,
heard that,
really
like
cool.
before getting into it myself, before doing a NASA social myself, I had heard that like there was a lot of people that had gotten into the media side of it after doing a NASA social, and I didn't know how that worked. I thought maybe, well, once you've done one, maybe there's somewhere you go and you just all of a sudden you become media, but it really doesn't work that way. I think it's more like,
No,
NASA social. Some people it introduces them to space flight, like you, that's what kind of hooked you in, right?
no, yeah, I was always into it. It's just that was the first time I was actually able to go out there and see it up close.
Mm,
That's what hooked me in to
yeah.
seeing it up close because I saw plenty of shuttles from here
Oh,
in
that's right.
Orlando launching.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but yeah, up close, yeah, there's nothing like it.
Well, if they ever, and they will, once they get NASA socials going, we're looking at you, Bekah.
That's right.
Gotta get that vaccine out.
That's right, Mr. Penland. It's going to be all you, and you have one, two, three, three of us at least. I don't know if J Dog has been on one
I've
yet.
never been to one.
Okay, so there's two people here that need to go on a NASA
Well,
social.
Matt Jordan can't because he's
Yeah.
recognized.
There's
media
one
outlet.
person here that needs to go on a NASA social.
Yeah,
I would love to.
They sort of frown upon people that are actually recognized media as applying. They'll be like, "Well, what are you doing here? What are you applying to this?"
Yeah,
for?"
I had a pretty hard time at the solar orbiter social. Everybody tend to noticed who I was.
Well, that's
like,
right,
hey,
because
you're-
you already
yeah,
had Next Horizons rolling at that point.
yeah.
Wow.
I didn't know. You know what I mean? I mean I did it under pressing for flight though. I didn't do it under Next Horizons.
Oh, Solar Orbiter. I'm thinking
Solar
Parker.
orbiter.
I'm thinking Parker.
Yeah, solar orbiter. You know what I mean? So,
But
but
you were
they-
still. It's like
they
people
knew-
still knew who you were. Yeah.
yeah, they knew I was. So I was like, oh, dang it.
All right. Let's move along. Let's see. So that's tomorrow. I just thought this was kind of neat. Axiom Space is talking about their first commercial launch that is going to launch on a Crew Dragon. We all are pretty sure that it's going to be Tom Cruise and friends. Who you're looking at here is the commander. They don't have his name. What's his name?
Commander Michael Lopez Alegria.
That's right. Yeah, we read that story the other day or the other week or whenever that was. So this is the commander of the flight. He's a experienced astronaut, and he's going to be the one controlling Crew Dragon in the case that he even needs to take control. Because if you don't already know, the idea behind Crew Dragon is to be totally automated from liftoff all the way up to docking with the space station. But he's going to be there as the expert to make sure everything's going well.
He's there for insurance purposes.
Right. And they're saying that the mission launches no earlier than late 2021. More details soon. And I'm pretty sure these are just generic heads behind him. In fact,
No, what are those?
No,
Tom
it's the Jonas Brothers.
yeah, because these two
looks
look
like the Jonas
exactly the
Brothers.
same.
Yeah.
So
No, that's a clone of Tom Cruise. All of them.
No
that's
way.
It. That's it. They're sending 3 Tom Cruises.
Well, the dude on the right looks different.
Yeah, but these two look. Even this little spike,
Hair, yeah.
little separation in the hair. That is the same person. Right
Just
there.
made their height a little bit different in the background.
Photoshop.
No one will know.
Okay, so that's just cool. Just keep your eyes out and ears out. Follow Axiom Space. It's Axiom_space. But if you search on Twitter for Axiom, that's AXIOM. I'm sure you'll find it. And hopefully they'll let us know officially that it's Tom Cruise. All right, now, really, like, if Crew 1 wasn't this weekend, this would be one of the most exciting launches coming up because
Yeah.
Peter Beck tweeted out like a few days ago or a week ago or whatever. He's like, well, you know how we were going to do our first booster recovery on this mission? Well, we moved it up. And so they're going to try their first real deal booster recovery during a real mission. And it's coming up in just a few days. Like as far as the window. And if you follow Rocket Lab, you know that sometimes they don't launch on their first attempt, and then they take a few days, and then they'll launch again. It seems like the weather down there in New Zealand doesn't like to play nice.
This is the pad where all the sheep live around it.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. So these are some good pictures, but here's some better pictures. So they went with a little bit of a different paint scheme.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, I thought there was another one. Hold on, is this the one? Yeah, figured it was worth a special paint job. So yeah, it's gonna look a little bit different. I can't wait to see this, and I'm sure a lot of people can't. And there's a really good reason to go ahead and watch this one. And Matt said that he would look into it and tell us about this little gnome that is going to be flying on it. What do you got for us?
So the gnome is this is actually part of a charity that they're doing, which I really love it when any kind of a company does anything for charity. I mean, that is just amazing. Like that just shows the true heart of the company and their intentions. You know what I mean? Because there's no profit for them there. You know what I mean? They're truly giving because they want to. So anyways, so Rocket Lab is doing this charity called Rocket. Yeah, I have it pulled up here because we've been talking. So Starship Hospital. Sorry, Starship Hospital is a hospital in New Zealand, and it's a children's hospital. So the money that's being made from this launch here will be donated to the Starship Hospital, and I just love that they do that. That is just
cool.
So amazing.
And let's see, what's the deal they're doing?
They're doing the deal is for every $1 for every person who watches the live stream they have the link right there on the screen.
Yep.
Now, one of the things I was wondering about is if you have to watch it like through their website, but if you click on this link, it takes you to the Rocket Lab website and their stream page. But if this looks familiar to you, it's because this is the YouTube.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that if you watch it through their YouTube channel, it's the same deal, right?
Or maybe it has to be the click through to the website, not.
Yeah. Well,
they're the website. They know who goes.
Right. Yeah, they're getting
not the actual
paid
feed.
per views either way, so they're going to donate that money to the children's hospital.
The thing is, they might not be taking the views off of the. If you went directly to YouTube, you need to go through the click through.
Right, that's what I'm wondering. Because I mean, I would hope that they're not going to differentiate
nickel and dime.
Yeah, I was going to say nickel and dime. Yeah, if I hope they're not doing that with this.
I'm sure they won't.
I don't think so. I think
when people are being philanthropic, they like being philanthropic. That's something they're into. So
yeah, so I think that as long as you're watching on either their Twitch channel or their YouTube channel, then you'll essentially be there you go.
Giving them kids some money. Give them kids money.
Yeah, they see a lot of patients too. A lot of these kids are terminally ill. You know what I mean? And they just so this actually brings up into what he's about to click on now, which was a special pin that Launch Pins just introduced. Now, what this pin is if you go on to his
commemorative. This is
exactly.
awesome.
Yeah. So what it is if you go onto his website, you can actually click on every single one of those icons that you're seeing on this pin, and it's going to tell you the significant behind each one of those single icons.
Well, guess what?
Whether it's Soyuz, so whether it's Soyuz or the mask represents the COVID pandemic. So what he's doing is every single time you buy this pin, a certain percentage he's donating to, he's going to split it between two different charities that me and him work together on. One of them is Give Kids the World Village, which is a charity locally here in Florida. And what it is, it's kind of like Disney World, and these kids who are terminally ill, they're able to go and they're able to ride rides and just have a good experience like being on Disney World. But they're on their last days basically, but they're able to enjoy life a little bit. They're able to have some fun. Everything's completely paid for. They don't pay for the room. They don't pay for their stay there. They don't pay for nothing.
My wife actually has played cello for their story time, princess story time they do on Sunday mornings. It's like Princess Storytime Brunch or something like that.
Mhm.
But my wife actually would go out there and donate her time to make sure that those kids had some great music
Yeah.
to listen to.
Every year for my birthday donation thing on Facebook, I always do Give Kids the World Village. It's fantastic. And then the other one is a free STEM program for kids of all levels who are not able to pay for STEM education. It helps them get free STEM education. The guy's been doing it for a while. Fantastic page and everything. So if you can buy this pin, they're limited edition. They're numbered, so there's not going to be a whole lot of them, and it's going for a good cause.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And it's got a face mask on it. Never forget.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I want to see the thing where it shows what each symbol means.
You should, if you go on, is it launch pins?
Well, I just clicked to what. Oh, launchpins.com. Duh. Okay. I went to his Etsy. site.
You went to his Etsy site, bro.
Really,
It's been a long week, folks.
I really screwed the pooch on that one. Let's see. Shop it. See, I could have been finding this when we were talking about this. Oh, here we go.
Originals.
Originals. Here we go. And then how do I? Oh,
You zoom in.
I can zoom in on it, but
No, he had an interactive map where you can click on each one. Could have swore.
Dedicated learn page. Wait. Dedicated learn page. Click on those 3 words in the middle of the paragraph here. They're slightly lighter color. There you go.
There we go.
There it is.
And then this right here.
Yeah.
There it is. Yep,
and it's
there it is.
Oh, bam.
There she
Okay.
is.
All right, cool.
Yeah, it's really cool, man.
20 years on the ISS. Nice. Cygnus, Northrop Grumman 13. Cygnus was the first mission of the ISS. Okay, this year. Gotcha. What do you got here? Betelgeuse mysterious dimming. Oh, man.
See what I mean?
This is awesome.
It's amazing.
SpaceX Demo 2 mission. You got Starship. What's this here? Solar Orbiter. There you go. What's this? Phosphine.
I'm telling you,
Man, this is awesome.
amazing.
Okay,
I bet inflated aborts right here.
So go to launchpins.com and then we figured it out. So go to that pin. You're going to need to search for that pin specifically, the 2020 commemorative pin, and then in the description of that, look for the sentence that says you can learn about everything on the pin over at our dedicated Learn page. In fact, you could probably just click on the Learn page. Yeah,
That's
actually,
a smart idea.
Yeah, there's a little drop down menu under the Learn, and then you click on 2020 commemorative pin. Wow, that's really cool. Way to go, Launch Pins. You're awesome. All right,
That's some clever coding right there.
Let's see. What is?
He does some good stuff.
Okay, this is okay. Well, good. All right. Well, we're at about an hour, but I still want to continue. I asked you guys if you were cool with this before we started. But I want to. I had a really good conversation with a friend of mine. I got my buddy Todd, who I play Rocket League with. Sometimes the nights get long and we just start talking about stuff, and we just stare at the Rocket League menu screen for hours, just talking about stuff. And we started talking about aliens. All right, and I know that if you listen to space podcasts, you don't really hear if it's geared towards like what's really happening in the space industry and with NASA and stuff. You don't usually hear too much about aliens because there's not a whole lot of evidence about it, and it's all speculation, and it depends on who you ask. It's all everybody's gonna have a little bit of a different opinion on it. So I want to talk about aliens.
All right.
Not about opinions, it's about facts.
Didn't Will Smith
Cold,
blow
hard
him up?
facts.
Will Smith blew up one species of aliens. I mean, come on, it's a vast universe,
Does anyone listen to was it Coast to Coast AM?
I used to a lot.
Oh man, what was the George Bell? The original host.
Art Bell. And
Art Bell.
George Norrie.
George Snorri. He's boring. He's super boring compared to Art Bell.
George
To Art Bell.
Snorri.
The thing with Coast to Coast is it's good if you if you, if you know a thing or two about like skepticism, but
Mhm.
it's bad if you're super gullible
Oh
because
yeah.
they have a lot of people on there that are just that don't really care much about like real evidence and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know. Anybody want to go? I mean, I kind of have like things that I want to point out, but
I believe there's some life form or some kind of aliens out there. I don't
There
think they
has to
came
be.
and visited us and like probed cows and
and
abducted
Cartman,
people.
yeah,
There has
Yeah,
to
or
be.
they just
They're-
like come by and like land on top of power lines or whatever people say they've seen.
Mhm.
There has to be. There's millions upon millions of galaxies out
I
there.
just don't think they come visit
know?
this dumb little planet.
Scientifically, I think there are aliens, and to be perfectly honest, my particular belief is that we are not originally from this planet. I actually believe in the panspermia theory, the Martian panspermia theory. I believe when we set foot on Mars, we will be going back home.
Right, but we won't. But the panspermia idea isn't that we left Mars in this form that we are
I mean,
now, right? Like, it's
I mean that is one idea amongst many on the panspermia spectrum of ideas. There's the idea that maybe we came as microbes on a rock that was on Mars. I believe there was actually a civilization on Mars at some point, and that I'm talking, hundreds and millions of years ago, and that we traveled as we destroyed that planet. We traveled and found Earth,
oh, so you
and
think
we
it
pop-
might be that?
I think if you look at some of the earlier, not just cave paintings, because cave paintings are a little primitive, but the stuff that's a little later, when you're actually seeing stuff that, like, to our eyes looks just like we envision aliens look like in a lot of hieroglyphics and things like that. I don't know. There's a lot of evidence there to me.
I just want to make sure that we're including the chat in here. We've got.
Yeah,
I think.
I'm ignoring
see.
them.
Klebby,
Jeez,
Klebby,
smart.
Klebby and Astro Guy are the only ones so far that have chimed in. Klebby says, "I personally believe in aliens. They 100% exist. If the universe is this big, then there's a 100% chance an alien exists. Literally trillions of galaxies, and we just haven't found them." And then Astro Guy says, "The panspermia makes a lot of sense if you think it's microbes," and that's kind of what I assumed you meant at first, but
I used to really subscribe to the microbes thing, and I still do. I mean, one way or another, I think we are not originally from here, and that we actually originally came from Mars or somewhere else in the
could be
solar
a totally
system.
different solar system.
Yeah,
Really,
absolutely.
I mean,
I
there are
mean,
clouds of gas and particles and dust and stuff that are material that have been blown off of other planets that are ejected far enough from their solar system that they just drift through interstellar space, and then over millions and billions of years they can find themselves somewhere else. And if there's beings out there like the tardigrade, the water bear, things that can be dormant for long periods of time. I mean, it would have to be a very long period of time. That's where I start pumping the brakes a little bit. Like, that's a really long time for something to lay dormant and still be viable once it gets back to an environment that it could survive in.
I'll put it to you this way, okay? Even here on Earth right now where we are, look around you. Look at the bugs. Look at some of the animals. Look at some of the things that live in the ocean. Look how alien-like those look to us. You know what I mean?
And the environments they live. That's the important part, is the environments that they
Exactly.
live in.
So if something that looks as weird as a bug or a spider, or you know what I mean, even something as simple as dogs or cats, you know what I mean, they're a different species. If they can look completely different to us here on Earth, just imagine what's out there in billions upon billions of galaxies. It's mind-blowing probably what's out there. You know what I mean? I wish there would be a way. I am excited for the day, and I hope that I'm still around for the day when we actually discover life on another planet, like actual, legitimately physical formed life.
Yeah, who wouldn't
You know what I
be?
mean? I'm just, it's going to be freaking amazing.
What do you
I
think?
hope I'm here.
Becca?
I think that there is no chance that we're the only living intelligent life, but it
She just
could
threw intelligence in the mix, y'all.
it could be that there is something that is so different and so abstract to our minds we couldn't even comprehend. Like they might have a completely different operating system than a mind. Like it could be it's there are things that could exist that we couldn't even begin to dream of, and it could just be their existence. There could be other more intelligent species elsewhere that it doesn't even cross their mind to look for others. Like they're content with what they have. I'm not exactly sold on the Mars thing, and here's why. You said that if you look at some of the drawings, but not cave drawings because it's too primitive, but wouldn't they have known?
They'd have been
if
closer to the
Yeah,
time that it happened.
That's true.
the further you get from
That's
it,
true.
they don't know anything.
That's true, and there's a lot of speculation that I do like to watch a lot of conspiracy theory television, just for reference.
fun,
But
yeah.
there is some speculation, and I've actually done the research into the stuff that interests me. But there is speculation that there was already evolution happening here along the same lines as Mars, and whatever beings ruined Mars as a planet. Whatever happened to Mars, maybe it's a climate change situation.
Yeah, I think it would have been a natural thing because look
Yeah.
at where Mars is now. I mean,
Yeah. Well, that's millions of years too.
If they once had a magnetic field, which means they once had a spinning core, and then that went away, well, then there goes their atmosphere, and then it's no longer a viable
That's true,
place
but
to live.
we'll find more information once we get boots on the ground and we're actually able to start looking places and
actually,
looking under rocks. And
Klebby made a good point. When we go to Mars and we dig in the surface, wouldn't we find fossils? Possibly. It's that's possible.
Well, we're still a pre-warp society, so Vulcans haven't came to say hey yet.
Not
yeah,
yet.
the thing that everybody's interested in is whether or not there's intelligent life and if it has visited here. And the thing that gets me kind of hung up on not really being able to accept that intelligent life has made it here is the distances. You would, and you could say hypothetically, well, maybe they've found some sort of technology where they can travel vast distances much more quickly. They can go faster than the speed, because even the speed of light is just not fast enough, because the other side of our galaxy it's like 28,000 light years or something crazy like that, right?
But if such a civilization, if you will, learned how to warp space-time, like we would consider a warp drive, is essentially warping the fabric of space-time and making 2 points that aren't really connected to each other touch each other, and then crossing that boundary.
But then making that opening wide enough to pass a ship through it. You'd have to be able to do that, because I mean, and that's all theoretical. And I used to follow like a lot of Michio Kaku and who is it? Brian Greene talks about this kind of stuff, I think. And they're like, yeah, we think we have an idea of how you could make a wormhole, but expanding it enough to get anything of substance through it is like you need to be able to suck the entire
crystals.
Yeah, you need to suck the energy out of a star is kind of one of the things that I've kind of picked up on. But one of the things I think about is like, yes, there probably are intelligent species out there. I mean, I operate under the assumption there is life out there. Like that's I feel like that's a given. I'm a child of Carl Sagan, and he painted a beautiful enough picture. It's like there's got to be. I mean, there's so many opportunities for there to be life out there, but how many opportunities became intelligent life? And that's when you kind of
And
you got to
that
think
number
about.
still becomes an infinite number if you believe in an infinite universe.
There might be something different than intelligence. There
Yeah,
might
like
be
what we
something better
consider
than
intelligence
intelligence.
might be a cockroach to some other form of life, and
Mhm.
we see them, but we don't even know we're seeing them because we can't comprehend.
Yeah. Well,
Or maybe we just
and
can't even see them. Maybe they're on a different plane of
and that's kind of
existence.
scary because I don't want I don't want another species to come here and be like, oh, they're not intelligent. See. Well, we have our definitions of what intelligence is.
Mhm.
I feel like if another intelligent species came here and they saw what we have made and they saw that we have figured out how to get off of our planet, they'd be like, okay, these guys are intelligent.
They're at least trying.
Yeah.
They're making strides.
But as far as like the opportunities, so life is sort of a
That's
given.
getting into more like a Fermi's paradox. Fermi's
Right.
paradox is if you do this mathematically, you come up with millions of civilizations within a distance of us that we can actually travel would be available.
Mhm.
Say if they found the speed of light and they can travel at that speed, then this is an area which would be like traversing, and we should be able to contact these species, but we're not. So why aren't we?
Well,
That's the
one
paradox.
thing would be because our bubble. I mean, if you've ever seen Contact, our bubble of our signals that have gone out that are traveling at the speed of light. They get weaker and weaker as they go out, but they've only been going out for 100 years.
Right at 100
Right
years
about
now,
100.
yeah.
So that means that they have only reached 100 light years away from us. So if
Mhm.
any other species was listening for us or anything, they would
They're
have to
just
be
now
within
hearing us at least 100 light years away.
Yeah, 100 light years away is the farthest that they'd be able to hear us. So that I'm not sure that I don't know that that's going to be the answer. I want SETI, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. I want them to succeed. I hope that they are able to find something. But as far as our signal being picked up by somebody else, it seems slim.
It's a long way away.
There are not a whole lot of stars within 100 light years of us. Okay, so the opportunities of life are out there, but the opportunities of intelligent life might be somewhat limited because if you look at the age of the universe, we think it's about 13 billion years, right? How many generations of stars could have existed? Because those first the first generation of stars, you may have had millions and billions of stars, but the first generation of stars could not have had life because they were made up solely of hydrogen and helium, right? As far as we know. And so it took those stars to live for hundreds of millions and some of them billions of years, and then they had to die. And in that process of dying, and also in that process of living, they were creating the
heavier
elements.
materials,
right? And so when during a supernova, a lot of the elements that we have here on Earth, they're created because it's massive pressures and temperatures and stuff, and it gets exploded out and it goes out into the universe, and it takes millions or billions of years for that material to coalesce into something new. And we've only got 13 billion years to work with, right? So how many generations of stars with their planets have come and gone? And then when you take into account dinosaurs, I mentioned earlier how aliens relate to not on the show. I mentioned to Bekah. She probably had no idea what I was talking about. How aliens relate to dinosaurs. Dinosaurs were around for hundreds of millions of years with, as far as we know, no intelligence, right? So there is no given. It's not a given that just because you have life and because you have enough time, there's you can't just assume that life will eventually become intelligent if given enough. The only reason that we were able to to become, the only reason humans were able to happen is because of extinction events that crippled the dinosaurs and allowed mammals to take root and succeed, because they, mammals, they were just like little rodents crawling on the ground. They couldn't have possibly competed with the dinosaurs, right? So something happens, big cataclysm, the asteroid hits. There's several, extinction events along the way. The last one killed enough of the dinosaurs to give mammals, and I'm not saying it has to be mammals, that there could be all kinds of life, like types of life or categories of life that could maybe become intelligent, but it's not a given. And so even if a planet is around a pretty normal star that's like ours, that has lots of times in a pretty calm environment, solar system, there's no guarantee that it's going to produce intelligent life. In fact, with like 5 different extinction events, only after the last one that we had did we create, or did Earth create intelligent life. So it sort of starts to beat down that number of opportunities that there is intelligent life. And then when you think about the vast distances, I mean, I hope that there's other intelligent species just in the galaxy. I assume that, there's billions of galaxies out there, so I think that there must be others. There's other opportunities that it has become intelligent, but it might only be like a handful in each galaxy, right? Is this making
Maybe.
any sense?
Yes.
Where they go? The Goldilocks
Yeah.
zone for planets. So
And there's going to be a lot of that, and of course there is the thing where we're kind of looking for life that would,
As we understand it.
Yes.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
We're looking for life as we understand it. I think along the way, especially when we get to places like Europa and Titan, we're going to gain a much better understanding of how life can develop and what life can become under extremely different circumstances than we are used to. Just like on Venus, we don't know what this phosphine was. There are processes which could have created it, but we know it's there. So now that just gives us a reason to go look again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then, there's what is it? Titan? Titan has liquid lakes of methane, and there could be opportunities for life there, and they would never be able to make it on Earth, and we would never be able to make it there, like live there. I mean,
Not live there,
get
but
there.
we could get there, and one day we could probably visit.
The
Yeah.
possibilities are endless.
Literally.
I think about how in other solar systems or other galaxies or whatever, there is the possibility that they could have all different materials all together. The way that everything is positioned and it could create different materials altogether, and it could have created a species that functions well, but in a way that we couldn't even come up with in a sci-fi movie. Like they could function as well as we think we do as a species, but in just to us they would be like
a sentient form of the color
centipedes
blue
or something. Like they
I like that.
named Hulavu.
endless opportunities.
Yeah. Matt Cutshaw, I think you already chimed in.
Yep.
Anybody else? I wanted to
out
see where we stood on this, and I
They're out there.
had that thought brewing in my head, so I wanted to see what y'all thought. I hope that the ultimate, not the ultimate goal, but like the ultimate outcome is that we have something like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, where like cruising around, not the ones that come along and just like wipe out your
Don't
planet
forget your towel.
because you're in the way, but like I hope that there's like a a system out there, or like better yet with Contact, when spoiler alert, but you need to see the movie.
Absolute.
It only came out what 98.
Right. I mean, and it's a spoiler, but she meets the aliens. They're not in the form that she expected. It actually looks exactly like her dad. And they explain how there is a system, and they've been doing it for billions of years, and they sort of help new civilizations kind of inch their way into this galactic or universal society. And that you can't expect it to happen quickly. It happens over generations and probably thousands of millions of years. But that there's something out there, that there are others that have made it to that point that we're kind of striving for. It just takes a really long time, and it's irresponsible for a species to come along and say, well, here's all the answers. Here's how we did it, and here's how you do it. It's better to let all of these intelligent species.
You leave some breadcrumbs.
Yeah. Right.
Figure it out.
I mean, they did give us the plan on how to make that wormhole thing.
But then we still had to figure out how to do it.
Yeah. Right. And it doesn't necessarily explain how or why it works. It's just you put this here and put this there, and it's going to take you for a ride. And they didn't have control over where it went. So it's, as far as like using it for viable transport, it doesn't really work, unless you understand how to control it. Well, yeah, I'm sure it was a step in that direction in this fictional world.
That's probably, that was the first test, is figuring out how to build it. Next test is figuring out how to replicate that and learning how to harness it.
Yeah.
And make it a weapon.
Which is, yeah.
Well, sadly, that's what humans would do with such a thing.
Yeah.
If you have something powerful, you make it a weapon.
And that's why, in this fictional world, that's why they don't just give you all the answers on how to do it, because I think a species needs to mature. And oh man, who was it? Terrence McKenna, and he's kind of off the deep end. So if you look up Terrence McKenna, you just be skeptical. But he had an idea that we were that like our species is sort of going through like an adolescent phase, and that on the other end of that, we will eventually mature into adulthood, where we're not constantly trying to destroy each other and ourselves, and
none of us are going to know.
It'll be long after we're gone. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But hopefully generations from now, they figure out how to live peacefully and explore for the sake of exploration and knowledge, and bettering, the lives of the people. I mean, because I think for me, it comes down to intelligence is a rare thing in the universe, and even though it is like kind of calling yourself special, it's kind of our obligation to make sure that we continue to live, because the universe doesn't just spit out intelligence all the time. And we should,
That's why we need a backup planet.
Right.
Let's go nuke Mars.
At least learn how to get from planet to planet, and that's going to help us, eventually get from solar system to solar system.
That it will.
All right.
That's just that first step toward becoming that what do you call it? Stage 1 civilization.
Yeah, stage 1. Yeah, we're still stage nothing.
We're like stage 0.7.
Stage pad.
We're that we're that V0.7.
We're still on the launch pad. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're trying to get our ground equipment figured out.
Yeah. It's too old.
All right. I think that's it. I think that's going to be a show. Thank you, Klebby and Astro Guy and Daryl, and I don't know if Seth was in there or not. Doug, Zach, yeah, thanks everybody for hanging out with us. And I believe we'll see you next week.
Happy Veterans Day.
Yes, happy Veterans Day. Thank you for your service.
Shutdown sequence initiated. Shutting down.